Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, virtual attendees, wherever you are. I'm Linda Ricci. Thank you to Karam and the team at VRTO for inviting me to be here. I'm looking forward to sharing some ideas around how to monetize VR. Before I dive in, I'd like to preface this with a hearty disclaimer. 15 minutes is very little time to talk about such an extensive topic, and things are moving so quickly that there will be things that I just leave out, or indeed things that, you know what, I just don't know about. So think of this as an appetizer in a amuse bouche, if you will. I decided to keep this talk at the mid business level, some ideas around how to leverage existing networks and products, not at the level of needing to invest hundreds of millions of dollars to build your own distribution platform. While I am more than happy to ruminate at that level, that is not feasible for the majority. I also decided to focus on B2C. B2B VR is a massive, area of its own, very interesting. It has enormous opportunities in healthcare and manufacturing and design and architecture, but is another huge area of discussion. Similarly, advertising is going to be a big part of how VR grows as an industry and economic force. And while I'd love to cover it as a subject, we just don't have the time right now. What I would like is for this presentation to open a strategic window in your thinking on what VR is and how your specific brand or situation can take advantage of it, maybe in ways that you hadn't thought of before. So, inspired by that Pet Shop Boys, let's talk about making lots of money. Virtual reality. It is beautiful. It is immersive. It is emotional, and it's still really early in its mass market journey, but it shows so much promise. The games, the experiences, the storytelling, and now my personal favorite, the socializing. VR is and will continue to be an amazing medium that will make the world our playground. And it's still only just starting to hit its commercial potential. So, how does one create growth, drive adoption, and make money from VR's deeply engaging experience? How is VR really going to benefit me, my business, and my customers? That is the proverbial million, billion, and who knows, maybe even $1 trillion question. While VR startups are sprouting everywhere, Crunchbase lists roughly 4,700 companies in the VR space. I was astonished by that number. They aren't generating a whole lot of revenue yet, other than some hardware manufacturers and a handful of large game companies. The theory, of course, is that this is where the investment money is flowing and there's a lot of it, so the fire is close behind. Headsets, as clunky and heavy and expensive as the current versions are being set loose on an eager and growing audience. And web mobile VR is bringing democratization and ease to the delivery of content. The advent of superfast networks and cloud-based delivery of VR promises vast opportunities. We will all be connected by large amounts of superfast data. If we are expecting Moore's law to make things faster, cheaper, and smaller, and Metcalfe's law to grow the reach scale of VR technology, right now is the time to start thinking about a monetization strategy for the near future of VR and your company. The very nature of the VR medium makes translating past monetization models challenging. We can't take what just works in one medium, so print, TV, the web, whatever, and blindly try to copy it in VR. Now, we have solved this every time a new medium and opportunity space has emerged. The transition from physical retail to e-commerce is still generating a shift in how we think about selling products. So let's examine what some currently successful revenue methods are and see if we can't translate them into what opportunities for VR will be. If we look towards the web for guidance, it's a great platform for selling products. Can this be the guiding light for monetization in VR? If we look towards mobile for guidance, for instance, freemium apps combined with ads and in-app purchases generate over 95% of in-app of revenue. So how can VR adopt and adapt this revenue model? What about entertainment? Streaming services have truly revolutionized how we watch TV. On-demand content via subscription services have seriously chipped away at the traditional way to experience entertainment. How can VR entertainment take advantage of this new creative medium? And finally, for games and game consoles, downloadable and extended content plus microtransactions are the big money makers. You want that extra shield, the fresh new skin, or the new power-up, pay a small amount for the in-game edition. Is this something to consider for VR experiences outside of gaming? So now that we have looked at some current opportunities in the real world, let's explore some monetization opportunities in the virtual one. Let's talk about v-commerce, selling things first. Virtual try-ons are a huge bright spot in the future of retail, and they are coming at us fast, led by augmented reality. Virtual try-ons are literally everywhere. They're in store as well as just with apps in the comfort of your home. When you're walking around, they're everywhere. Eyeglasses, makeup, jewelry, with increasing measurement accuracy, AR is making it possible for customers to try before they buy. Similarly, furniture placement apps are revolutionizing the in-home buying process. Try it on in your house before buying, increasing sales conversions by reducing uncertainty and decreasing returns. But what if we could shop for goods in a virtual space that replicates the real world experience? V-commerce startup Obsess recently worked with Dior to launch a virtual version of the luxury brand's Champs-Élysées store in Paris. While this isn't yet true VR, it is a 2D 360 experience. It's showing how much intent there is from large, highly branded products to enter into the VR space. Once an experiment for a handful of innovation-focused brands, and I'll be honest, I worked with the client Bergdorf's, I think it was in 1999 on this. It is something that has been pushed into relevance by the global COVID-19 pandemic. True e-commerce is now seeing an accelerated interest due to brands looking to offset losses from physical store closures. The next step, and it's coming soon, is to fully v-commerceify the VR experience and buy things in the virtual store. The next generation of VR retail is being led by startups such as Inversion, which is developing ultra-realistic 6 degrees of freedom immersive VR solutions for CPG industry and retail. They are creating immersive shopping experiences that really do rival the real worlds. This behind me is actually a screenshot of their virtual store. It looks as real as walking into anywhere else, and you can actually just walk in. So walk into it, buy that, hat that you like on the mannequin, and have it shipped to you. But why not consider selling digital versions of your product? The human urge to customize is super strong. What you wear, what's in your house, what you drive, these are all a reflection of who you are and how you want to be seen. Many of these things are inextricably linked to brand choice. So not only is it a way for people to broadcast their brand affinities and live with them, but what an opportunity for brands to be part of someone's life wherever they are. It's no different in the nascent VR space. Why not help people by offering lifestyle products in VR? Give them the opportunity to design their own Oculus home by West Elm. So when they're sitting on their virtual couch with other friends who are visiting with their avatars to watch a streaming Netflix movie, they are in a West Elm branded environment. This is actually one of the Zoom backgrounds that West Elm released because so many people were using Zoom backgrounds, and I think it's an absolutely genius move. Why not do it for virtual reality spaces? I think that's fantastic. I have homes in at least 3 or 4 places, Oculus, Steam, all of them have homes, Rift, and I customize all of them, but none with any products that actually exist in the real world. It's a huge opportunity for brands. So along the lines of customization, just think about every person getting into social VR with spaces like AltSpace VR or VR Chat wants to take a fair amount of time to customize their avatars to more personally represent their inner self. Avatars are so personal that people just instinctively seem to have the need to make it their own. And while anecdotal, I'm seeing a ton of people clamoring for more realistic, more personalized versions. Why not let people customize their avatars with clothing from their favorite apparel brand, or possibly experiment with their alternative selves with avant-garde accessories and clothing that they could either never afford or would never wear in the real world? Would they like their avatar to wear an Iris Van Herpen dress? Buying one of the, possibly 100 or so she makes a year would set you back between $20,000 and $100,000 in the real world, but might be only a few dollars for the authentic virtual version. You could use a freemium approach. Give away last year's Nike sneaker models for free, but if somebody wants to be on the cutting edge, if they really want those Air Jordan Quantums for their avatar, they have to pay. On top of it, only release 50 of them or however many you want. Make it a limited item. And that lets consumers become collectors, which they can then buy and sell, just like in the real world. This approach is similar in many ways to in-app purchases, something we've seen works really well with mobile phones and MMORPGs. People are in the VR apps as avatars, but they can enhance their experiences with micro purchases, customized avatars, clothing, and accessories. Similar in-app purchases account for a full 50% of revenue generated for mobile app developers. Now, all of this does require persistent authentication in terms of items bought and sold, which will probably use blockchain to track legitimate owners and verify authenticity. We don't have this as a commercial version just yet, but there are a number of companies working on just that. And Philip Rosedale of Second Life and High Fidelity has talked extensively about the need for the development of this technology in VR. And the IEEE is working on open standards around blockchain and digital goods. So it's absolutely in the works. I see this as a specific opportunity space for apparel and brands. Building and enabling brand affinity is a key part of marketing. Extend it into the virtual world and spending will follow. So we've talked about customizing avatars with accessories. But to be honest, what I'm really looking for is a day that we can scan our actual bodies and have avatars that really reflect us in VR. So accurately, in fact, that we can use our digital twin to try on clothing for us. AR is again leading the way with this. The AR startup VAIR, VAIR, is giving people the opportunity to virtually try on clothing using augmented reality. If you're interested, check out Leah Cunningham's presentation. She's the CEO. It's Time to Ditch the Dressing Room. Is airing at 4:30 on June 15th to see what her company is doing in this space, which leads to other more long-term retail opportunities. Next level experiences include things such as online smart fitting, when avatars in VR will be used to actually try on clothing. Not the kind of rough estimated squint at the small photo of a perfect person and see what it might look like on you, but the actual thing. Your avatar is realistically sized because it's been scanned. Virtual apparel is accurately scaled by the manufacturers to their measurements. You can try it on virtually and see how it would actually look on you. Is the size right? Is it too big? Is it too small? Does it look good? Is it too short? Is it too long? Trying clothes on in the virtual space will eliminate so many of the travails of the current online and catalog ordering experience. Ordering multiples of different sizes with one or more getting returned because it doesn't fit, which is a huge cost to apparel companies and retailers, and quite often free shipping both ways to the consumer. So this is so much more of an efficient and streamlined way to shop for fashion and benefits both the consumers and the clothing brands and the retailers in the form of increased sales conversions, a sharp reduction in extraneous shipping costs, and a far lower percentage of returns. VR is the next wave of shopping for so many reasons. And while I've only just touched on the tip of the iceberg, I hope this gives you some ideas about how VR commerce and might be able to get you involved. So now let's talk a little bit about entertainment. We have seen a revolution in entertainment these past few years. The episodic, serialized content approach still reigns, and the very few attempts to replicate that in VR haven't yet been particularly successful. Personally, I think it's because one of the biggest problems is that the medium is still finding its creative feet. Samsung launched a set of serialized TV shows. I think there were 6 of them in 2018 for the Gear VR, but I watched them. They often felt like they had just taken television and made it into 3D. In other words, they weren't exploring how entertainment could and should develop in VR. They were trying to recreate the flat screen television experience in 3D. There are some amazing indie VR experiences that use the medium beautifully. If you're curious, check out The Key by Celine Tricard, just won an Augie Award at the AWE last week for one example. There are plenty more, but they're indie still. Entertainment needs to become participative, in my opinion, to make better use of what VR is amazing at: embodiment, exploration, replayability, world building, and reality bending. Just recreating the passive sit forward or lean back of our current television screens won't work. In a fully immersive environment, you want to look around, you want to explore, you want to interact and be part of the story, not just sit there absorbing somebody else's vision. You're part of it when you're sitting in it. Think more of a cross between a game and television, not taking the audience down a pre-scripted path, more of a choose your own story. So those are pre-taped, scripted shows, but what about live shows, particularly since people can't go to the clubs at the moment? Well, AltSpace VR did a series of live VR events on their program. They called it Reinterpreted Reality with Reggie Watts. It's a series of live shows that are happening over the course of 8 weeks. There's one more left if you're looking at this on June 16th and you want to catch it. Reggie attends live in person with his avatar, doing his stand-up comedy to a VR audience. And what a great way to create timely entertainment content that is live and spontaneous, and one that, honestly completely eliminates the costs and logistics of broadcasting a live television show. You could use an existing platform like Altspace VR or one of the others, charge a small fee to attend, and voila, revenue from entertainment. And what about concerts? Fortnite has held a few massively attended virtual concerts, and these are truly a potent glimpse into VR's future. For those not familiar, Fortnite is a gaming platform that has rapidly become a social network, and they've held a few virtual concerts there lately that have literally blown away all records for concert attendance. There was a record 12.3 million people attending its virtual concert with starring rapper Travis Scott, and that was very recent. And Diplo also just recently held a secret concert in the new No Guns Party Mode island that has just been introduced, which promises a new experimental and evolving space for players to hang out, play mini games, or watch live concerts from music and artists. In other words, virtual concerts there are going to be a regular thing. Now, concerts at this scale are not in VR yet because of technical challenges, one of the biggest being hosting more than a handful of avatars in one space at one time. But many are working on solving those problems. And with increasing headset capabilities and 5G to help distribute content, it will be solved. On a smaller scale, it is already happening. I personally attended a much smaller live concert. I think there was probably 30 people there, by Yunji Yohaning, and I apologize to her if I say her name incorrectly, in Altspace VR last week as part of AWE. She sang her with the acoustic guitar with her avatar on stage, while I stood in the audience with my dorky as hell, but whatever, avatar watching. It was unexpectedly real. I really did just pop my head in to see what was happening from a curiosity professional point of view, and I ended up staying because it was that good. It was something I think that other performers should definitely consider. It's an excellent way for customers to enjoy live entertainment without leaving the comfort of your home. And for performers, it's an excellent way to reach new audience with their music, and also to do it from the ease of their home. So no traveling and no fancy contracts, just show up in your avatar. Right now, there are no VR distribution networks a la television. Hardware limitations exist, and the market is still pretty small. But as people increasingly adopt VR and get used to socializing there, it is inevitable that they will want to experience entertainment there as well. Think about how, as a brand, you might be able to deliver on that promise. In summary, I'm quite obviously bullish on monetization opportunities in the near future for VR. And I think this is a perfect time to reevaluate your brand or product strategy and figure out how to play there. VR is the Wild West, which is both scary and potentially highly lucrative. I remember working with brands at the dawn of e-commerce who were similarly nervous about translating their real-world brands onto the internet. But recent events such as COVID-19 have put the spotlight on everything from the need to accelerate long-distance working and working on geographically spread, decentralized teams, to the slow death of brick and mortar. There's been a flurry of effort to enable long-distance working and collaboration using VR. Spatial.io is a prime example, with the result being that people who would never have been VR users are going to become very familiar with it as a result of their work, just like they've had to be with Zoom. This will in turn push greater consumer adoption and comfort levels with interacting through virtual reality, which will in turn fuel things like VR shopping and socializing. Again, this was a tiny teaser of all the opportunities out there. I am quite happy to chat with anyone about more specific questions or business ideas. You can reach out to me at linda@lindaricci.com. How are you going to make lots of money? Let's open this up to questions. Thank you.